What's up guys, Matt and Blake from the Football Boots team, and today is all about the brand new silo from Adidas called the Nemeziz. Now in total there's 7 different models available, so what we're going to be doing today is talking through each one to help you guys find out which is the best one for you guys to go and buy and wear in your own football. So alongside the tech specs that we're going to be speaking about today, a really important factor that we're going to be looking at is the price, which is incredibly important to you guys who are actually buying the boots. Now so far with the Nemeziz, a lot of the focus has been on the 17 plus 360 agility, so a really good starting place will be the 17.1 model. So Blake, take it away with the price and also what it offers.
So the price of this one is £220. So that could be even a £20 or £60 increase from something like the Vapor. I think it's a bit too expensive for what it is, but this is the boot Leo Messi will be wearing. This is the version he will be wearing that has laces. The 360 agility does not have laces, but this is the version he will be wearing in terms of tech specs. Now it's pretty much the same as the 360 agility, bar the laces. So this boot has laces, so you can actually tighten that central midfoot, locking down your foot into the shoe. This is the boot I would recommend for wide feet and not the laceless version. In terms of upper, we see Agility Knit 2.0. So that's pretty much copied over from the Messi 16 Plus Pure Agility with that Agility Knit upper. Really high quality in terms of that forefoot. It's also got that 360 agility bandage, that bandage system. Really locks down your foot into the shoe. Now I think this bandage system is probably the most unique thing about the Messi 17.1 boots, as well as the 360 agility. Really tightens that midfoot. You don't have any brio cables to lock your foot down into the shoe. You've got the laces and the agility bandage system just to really lock down your foot into the shoe. In terms of the back of the boot, we've got that dual lock collar. Again, it's a very unique style collar, locking your heel down into the shoe. On the sole plate, it's torsion frame. It's not sprint frame this time around. You see those 2 torsion bars on the midfoot there, really strong and stiff. It's quite a stiff sole plate, but once you break it in, it's quite good. Maddie, there's also a kids version, right?
Yep, so there is a kids version available, and the best thing is it is a lot cheaper. It's £120, so £100 cheaper than the £220 adult 17.1 version. Is it exactly the same? Almost exactly. The one thing which is different is that the sole plate doesn't feature a torsion frame. Does it make a massive difference to performance? Not really whatsoever. It's probably down to the stud configuration in terms of traction and responsiveness. So it's actually a really good bargain. £100 cheaper for the kids version at £120. So back into the Nemeziz boot game, and this time looking at the 17.2, which is probably going to be the most popular boot in the entire Silo series, and that's because the price tag is £100 cheaper than the 17.1, with the 17.2 costing £100 to £120. Blake, is that a good deal?
I think that is a good price point for this type of football boot because it does have a few features copied over from the 17.1 and the 360 agility. Yes, it does have laces obviously, so it's very similar to that 17.1. In terms of Agility Knit 2.0, it doesn't have that upper, but it still does have a very soft and thin synthetic upper. Similar to what you saw on something like the A16.2 Prime Mesh. That Prime Mesh was a very good boot. It has very good value for money because that upper was quite soft. In terms of the bandage system, yes, it does have that bandage system, but it's not quite the same. It will lock down your feet into the shoe, the same as what the 17.1 does. And that back of the boot, again, it has that dual lock collar. So again, it's going to look very similar to that Nemeziz 17.1. In terms of sole plates, again, it has torsion frame. So it's a slightly different version of what you see on the pro level ones, but it does have that torsion frame with those torsion bars. Very, very good value for money football boot. Maddie, what do you think of it?
Well, for me, given the choice out of the 17.1 or the 17.2, I'm not going to lie, I'll put my hands up and say I would still rather pay the extra and go for the 17.1 to get the slightly more premium feeling boot. But don't get me wrong, I think most of you guys out there, Blake might say as well, that they'd rather save £100 and get the 17.2 because the differences are just so slight. So let's take it down another level this time with the Adidas Nemeziz 17.3, which cost around £60 to £80. So Blake, a little bit of a jump down or a big jump down?
I think this is probably the biggest jump down in terms of the whole Nemeziz line from the 17.2 to the 17.3. I think this is the biggest jump down in quality. Now this doesn't have the Agility Knit 2.0, it doesn't have that bandage system, it has that dual lock collar, that's probably the only feature carried over, and it doesn't have the torsion frame. So these are the 4 biggest features, and it doesn't have any of that apart from the dual lock collar. So overall, I think if you're a kid out there wanting a cheap boot just to wear for your match days, go for the 17.3. But if you're a player that wants a bit more quality in your game and a bit more high performance, go for something like the 17.2. What would you get, Matty?
Well, I think it's actually a really interesting topic because we just spoke about the 17.1 and 17.2 and which one to go for. Now that had a massive price difference of £100, so definitely you could go for the 17.2 in that situation. But this time the 0.2 to the 0.3 is only going to be about £40 difference. So in my opinion, I would just pay that little bit more to get the more premium feeling 17.2 rather than the 17.3. But Blake, there's also a Tango version available.
So for a cheaper price, you can get a Nemeziz indoor version. So there are indoor versions of the pro level ones, but this is the cheaper version of that Nemeziz line.
So let's get into the most scaled down but also the most affordable Nemeziz, and that is the 17.4, and this is also the first time that you can really see a difference in how the boot looks. Blake, what are we looking at?
So essentially what this boot is designed for is that it's an entry level football boot. Kids from the age of 4 to 10 are likely going to wear this boot. It's only £40, so something like $60 for kids in the US. But overall, in terms of quality, this is very, very poor. It has none of the features we mentioned before on the 17.2 or 17.3. It's all made to look like the proper Nemeziz line. But parents, if you want to get your kid a boot this summer at an affordable price, get the Nemeziz 17.4.
So let's get into the absolute creme de la creme of the new Nemeziz, and that is the 17 Plus 360 agility. And I have got a massive problem with this boot. It's got nothing to do with the performance, nothing to do with the comfort. It is the price tag, £280, which is the most expensive pair of football boots I have ever seen on the market. Is it worth it?
I mean, I'll talk about the boot tech specs before I think if it's worth it or not. Tech specs wise, I think it's really, really high. It's Adidas' highest performing football boot in my eyes. It's got torsion tape, that 360 agility banded system. Very, very responsive with that agility and that 2.0 upper on the forefoot there. Very, very barefoot touch on the ball. That dual lock collar locking down your heel into the shoe. With that torsion frame with those torsion ribs. Very, very high quality sole plate, upper, and the whole boot is quite high quality. For £280, I would go for the 17.1. What would you get, Matty?
Do you know what? I think that's the point. Let's change silo over to the Ace. Look at the pure control or the 17.1 priming. Yep. Now, hands up, every single day, I would go for the 17.1 because I prefer it. It has laces and also it's £30 cheaper. This time around, exactly the same on the Nemeziz. Go for the 17.1 because it has laces, you can customize the fit, and it is so much more cheaper, this time even £50. So in my opinion, I'll still go for the lace 17.1.
So there's also a kids version of the 360 agility, which is £160. So kids, you can get a kid version of the 17.1 as well as the 360 agility. So you're paying again that premium for the kids version as well over the 17.1. And again, there is also a pro level Tango version of the Nemeziz 360 agility, which is £170. So again, that's at the high end in terms of prices for futsal and indoor shoes, but you definitely can get a pro level 360 agility version.
So that's the entire range of the new Nemeziz Silo, and for me, the two boots which stand out are the 17.1 because I'll go for that over the 360 agility because of the price and because of the laces, but also for a lot of you guys out there, the 17.2 is going to be a great option for you, much more affordable and still offers a lot. But Blake, which one would you get?
Like you said, the 17.2 screams value for money. It's got a lot of features from the 17.1. I would go for that one because price-wise, it's perfect for me. But Matty, that wraps up the video. Thank you very much for watching, and as always,
we'll see you next time.